Welcome everyone to another episode of Not So Serious Science, where we explain science in a way that even your grandparents can understand. My name is Emmanuel, I'm your host, and with me is your co-host, Pat and Eman.
Hey. We're so excited to have Saj Sayed with us today. He's been practicing dentistry for the last 17 years. A family man who cares about his practice, who cares about his employees, and who cares about his customers. So join us for this conversation, and here we go. Thanks for doing this, buddy. We really appreciate it, man.
I am honored, man. It was my pleasure, yeah.
We wanted you part of the podcast just because of your science background and the many years you spent as a dentist, and actually now a dental surgeon, right? Do I got that right? Or
Well, I'm still a general dentist, but
okay.
I do a lot of specialist procedures.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the one good thing about dentistry. You can take courses and you can specialize in things, or you can just do fillings all day long.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's versatile that way. My niche is definitely surgery. I like surgery. If I could do that all day long, I would. Like implant and bone grafts, extractions.
Yeah.
I was going to say, as a patient, I definitely don't want any of that work done on me.
Of course. Yeah, this is all only if needed. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
You make it sound more fun than I think it is for a patient like myself.
I think it puts patients at ease if I go in there with a very relaxed attitude, which I always do anyway. But the patients, a lot of times I'll do an extraction on the patient, and the patient will be like, "It's out." I'm like, "Yep, you're done." That's it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's all about the experience.
Yeah.
No one wants to know what you're doing in their mouth. It's all about the experience. And we're always working hard to make sure we give the patient a good experience, whether you're getting a filling or a crown or whatever it is.
It all depends on how much laughing gas you give, right? The more, the better.
You know what? Yes, laughing gas does help, but majority of the time, actually, I'm just doing it with regular freezing. Just
really? Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Local anesthetic.
I definitely got to go to you for dental work.
Hey, we're accepting new patients. So come on board. Yeah. Come on board.
I guess it depends on the person, right? Because how do you determine that? That's an interesting thing, because if you were to go to surgery at a hospital, right?
Yes.
You would have a anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
That, I don't know how they do their thing, but they probably check your age, your weight, and they give, the proper amount of anesthesia, right? Because I've heard stories that, someone went into the dentist and they started the operation, they still felt it. So the dentist has to give more, and then he felt it again still, and then they had to give more. So how do you determine the right amount to give?
See, that is the one thing that has led to a lot of bad experiences. Especially from the past.
Yeah.
I have patients who are now 60 years old.
Yeah.
And they remember when they were 5, that dentist who did a filling, or at the time it's pulled a tooth,
right?
Without anesthesia. And they remember it to this, even when they're 60, 70, it just never leaves them. But that's kind of what gave us a bad reputation. Because, dentistry started it was actually salesmen, believe it or not. That's how dentistry started. It was traveling salesmen. Yes. They would travel
Tell us the story. This seems
the salesmen would travel from village to village.
Okay.
And anybody who had a toothache, well, guess what? He or she proclaimed themselves as a dentist, and they had pliers, a bottle of booze. I'm not making this up. This is really how it started.
Where was this? In
I don't know if this was it. I think this was in Europe. And the funny thing is that in some parts, developing countries around the world, it's still kind of done that way, I think. I've kind of seen videos, which is scary. Oh, it is scary. But so what they would do is they would make a big spectacle of it. They would give the patient some booze. That was their anesthetic. And they had pliers. And they would pull the tooth out right in the town square in the middle where everybody could watch. And it was and then they take the tooth out and short everyone. Oh yeah, that's how it started. Believe it or not. The Incas actually did some dentistry too, which is crazy. Because, I'm big into implantology, right? I specialize in implantology.
Okay.
And the very first slide, when you take in the very first course, they show you is, believe it or not, skeletons from the time of the Incas who had, I think it was pieces of seashells in the jawbone, which look like teeth. They would carve them and they would actually put them in it, and it worked. It worked. They figured it out. They're like, yeah, this works. And so that was a little bit of dentistry way back then.
Wow.
In the general sense, yeah, it was a traveling salesman who actually started. And it just took off from there. I mean, of course, dentistry is a profession that's changing at a rapid rate. Like, we are trying to keep up, like materials. It's all about experience now. It's, we realize, okay, we have a bad reputation, or we built a bad reputation in the past, and we need to fix it now, right? Because at the end of the day, like, the worst part is when you come across a patient who had a bad experience and they don't want to come to the dentist anymore, but then they end up paying the price still because their teeth go bad, and the only time they're coming in is to get their teeth out. So I feel really bad for those patients, and I always tell them, look, we can give you a good experience, give us a chance, because at the end of the day, you pay the price, and I really don't want you to be doing that. Come in, we'll do our best to make you comfortable. We have everything. We have IV sedation, we have nitrous, laughing gas, we have pills, anything to get you comfortable. And
that's when you just walk right into the waiting room.
I think the biggest fear that scares people away from getting dental work is that huge syringe that you guys continue to use. That metal syringe for anesthetics. You know what I'm saying? I mean, out of all the advancements in dentistry, why can't they make that a little bit more friendly looking, right? There must be something, that they can do with that syringe. I mean, it's humongous. It has never changed since I was a kid till now. I got 2 kids. It's still the same size, if not even bigger, it looks like, in my opinion.
The more nervous you are, the bigger the syringe looks. That's it, man. This is how it works.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
You would think, something would be done by now, right? Like a little bit more, patient friendly.
It has. You know what? They have technology. Okay, so they have. It's called the wand, and it literally is like the syringe, I think, is like that big. It's tiny.
Okay.
And it beeps. You put it into the gums. Patients don't feel anything.
Yeah.
And it beeps, and you just tell them, okay, all right, just listen to the music, right? Distraction, and it numbs you up.
So, but not every
like a micro needle.
Not every dentist has it, and I did. I had a demonstration done a while back.
Yeah.
But, and again, I'm not bragging, not trying to do a number on myself, but I've spent time learning how to give a good needle.
Yeah.
And I work on kids, I work on adults, I work on everybody. My youngest patient was 4 years old. I kid you not, the youngest patient I ever pulled a tooth on was actually a 4-year-old, and she was a champ. Well, now she's 16, but yeah, the first time I met her, it was like, oh my God. And I was like, I don't know if she can do it, but anyway. Yeah. So with needles, syringes, injections, this is the basic, this is the truth. Let's put it that way. This is how it goes. Everybody feels the pinch.
Yeah.
Everybody feels a pinch.
A lot of percentage of people out there have this either scary experience or bad experience with the dentist, right? It's just crazy. Like you just mentioned that.
I'll tell you, the last story that I won't forget, 60-year-old, really bad experience. She tells me, I remember the dentist with the big glasses. He was up in a barn smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And looking at her teeth, so her eyes were like, can you imagine? Like, I felt so bad for her. And that was her bad experience. And he would, she was like, he would smack me. If I moved, he would smack me and tell me to stay still.
Yeah.
So maybe at that time, though, the guy was smoking maybe like marijuana to kind of calm the patient down. There was no nitrous at that time. Maybe.
Yeah,
no. We do that now. We do that now.
We do that now.
I read this article a long time ago, and I hate to go dark on this, but apparently the dentists are the profession with the most suicides.
That's the first thing I learned when I got into dental school. Congratulations. So I'll give you a perfect example to explain that. So we're normally switching spots with pharmacists. It's either we're number one or number two. So that's a high, we're up there. But okay, I knew a dentist in Saskatoon. There was a couple of girls who were scamming dentists. And what they would do is they would call in and say, I have an emergency. And they would go in. So that happened to this dentist. He went in and they came in and they were like, yeah, I have an emergency. And, he looked and everything. But then later, they claimed that he abused them. And it was his word against theirs. So when I learned about that when I was in school, the one thing I never do is if there's an emergency, I have my assistant with me. Whether it's a guy or a girl, doesn't matter. I never go in alone. So this dentist, he went in alone. And then they accused him of abuse. And he was actually a good friend of one of my professors. And long story short, he ended up committing suicide because he took it really hard. And he was a good man and he was a good dentist.
So it's not really the duty then, or the profession itself then. I always assumed had to do something with with the work, right?
It can.
Because like the accusations that you get, that can occur in any job really, right? Unfortunately, that happens all the time. So I thought this was more of a career specific type of...
In a way it is, because we are trained to evaluate our own work, right? There's nobody looking over my shoulder to, I don't have a boss.
Yeah.
Who's looking over my work and saying, hey, you didn't do that well. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I do work, I look at it and I go, I can do better. Okay. And if I can do better, I tell the patients, like, look, I can do that better. I'll bring you back and I'll do it. Right. And sometimes you do something, you think you've done a good job. And let's say the patient is just completely upset and there are people you just can't satisfy, right? Stuff like that. And when that comes back to you, some dentists just can't handle it. They're like, oh my God, they feel awful. They feel terrible. Sometimes it can lead them to suicide just because they feel really, really bad. And the patients can be, in this day and age, people can be quite harsh.
Especially in this day and age with social media, right? Like a couple of bad reviews or a couple of Twitter posts, and then it just snowballs from there, right? And there goes your practice, right? There's a lot more, I think, pressure and stress on the dentist part as well.
In the past 10 years, what do you think is the biggest advancements in the dentistry field? I'm kind of curious.
Oh my goodness.
Or maybe I should narrow that question down to maybe past 5 years if there's
No, 10 years, since I graduated, the number one very big thing is silver fillings, right?
Okay.
I don't remember the last
Silver fillings?
Yeah, silver fillings. They were done for 100, 150 years, right? There are a lot of people who are walking around still with silver fillings. There are people who've had silver fillings on one tooth for like 30 years.
Yeah, I still have my silver filling.
There you go. Yes. So the biggest thing was the silver fillings. I don't remember the last time I placed a silver filling.
Yeah. But they say, I always
replaced it.
Right? They say the silver fillings last a long time, right? And then the white ones don't last as long. They look nicer because you don't see it, but they don't last as long as the silver ones.
The white ones have actually now in the last 10 years, compared to the very first white filling that came out, say 10 years ago, compared to what we have now, like the materials and everything, they have made them so much better that they actually last.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just like they've been improving.
What's it made out of? Is that ceramic or?
It's a resin.
Resin. Okay.
Yeah, it's a resin that like you cure it with UV light and it gets hard. So it kind of floats. Like you kind of pack it in the semi-solid, and then once you get the shape and everything, you cure it, and it gets very hard.
So what's the most common reason people come to see you? Is it just cavities and fillings?
Cavities, toothaches, fillings.
Have you noticed a trend of younger and younger children coming in for cavities now versus, 10 years ago? Or it's pretty much the same. Kids will always eat candy no matter what.
It has been the same.
No matter what generation.
Yeah, like it has been the same. Kids have cavities. Yeah, it's just nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that's changed, nothing that I've the one thing that I have noticed in the last little while is actually kids with jaw issues and adults with jaw issues and cracking teeth because people are stressed, right? People are stressed. They take it out on their teeth.
Wow.
They clench and they grind when they're sleeping or when they're driving, you know. So in that sense, that's something that I've noticed a lot lately.
Oh, that's crazy. Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. There's a correlation with that, eh? Stress and grinding.
Yeah. And I mean, it was there before, but it's just a lot higher now. And I have some young patients having the same issues. And it's just like, wow, you know, like, then again, they have stresses of their own, you know, different, but it's still there. I mean, you see kids, really young kids who grind their teeth down like a lot.
Yeah.
They're like 5 years old, 6 years old. I mean, my son does it every now and then. And, you know, you think, why are you grinding your teeth, right?
That's funny you mention that. Yeah. My son too. He grinds his teeth at night. And yeah, I have the same feeling. Like, what the hell are you stressed about? It's like,
we didn't, you know what? When we were 4 or 5, honestly, I don't think we had those stresses. Things were, I think, a little bit more simpler for us. But kids nowadays, I mean, for one, they're brilliant. And two, yeah, they have different stresses. Now, the good news is, majority of the time, they just grow out of it. When they get their permanent teeth in, you know, they stop grinding, and yeah, they grow out of it and everything's okay.
How much of, you know, for example, susceptibility to the cavities stuff, how much of that is genetics? I mean, I always hear that, you know, people keep telling me, oh, part of it's genetics, you know, because I find with my kids, you know, when they were young, I helped them brush their teeth, you know, floss and everything. And then next thing you know it, they still got cavities, you know?
You know what?
You ain't doing it right. You ain't doing it right, Emmanuel.
Say hi.
Are you doing the down strokes?
Yeah. I don't know. Down, up, you know?
And then up, yeah.
Okay.
Bottom.
So here's the breakdown. Genetics, yes, has a big factor or a big role to play. So you have patients who have soft teeth, healthy gums. That's one scenario or one classification. You have patients who have really good teeth, horrible gums. And then you have patients who have beautiful teeth, beautiful gums. And then the last, patients who have bad teeth, bad gums. And you can tell. See, as a dentist, when you're drilling in teeth, like, you know, you're doing a filling or whatever, you can totally tell soft teeth and solid teeth. I have patients where I'll start drilling and I'm like, and I'll tell them, you have soft teeth, because it's literally like my drill is going through like a hot knife through butter.
Wow.
And other patients, like, I'm burning my drill. Like, I'm not getting anywhere.
There's smoke coming out.
Yeah, like I have patients who come to me that they haven't seen a dentist in like 20 years. 20 years. And I'm thinking, oh my God, there's going to be a lot of issues here. You take x-rays, you do an exam, you do a cleaning, and you take a look and you're like, oh my, they have immaculate, like everything is immaculate. And the guy brushes, or the gal brushes once a day.
Wow.
They had a cleaning, you know, it's just like, how is this? They're just blessed. Genetics, beautiful genetics. Yeah. So, and then I have patients who I haven't seen in 3 months. They come back and they have cavities everywhere.
So one thing that I never share with you, Emmanuel, is that I actually took the dentistry test.
Oh, did you?
One thing I remember for the for the exam was, and I think it changes every year, because some years it's chalk, but our year we had this soap. It was like a soap, and you had an X-Acto knife.
Yep.
And one of the not challenges, but you know, parts of the test, sections of the test was you had to carve out a specific.
Yep.
You have to freaking do it like a little sculpture, right, out of the soap.
Yep. And
I completely failed that one. Like, there was no way. Like, it didn't even look like the thing. Like, I botched that up big time. So just that alone, I knew I was gonna get in anyways. But I heard some years is chalk. I don't know if what was yours when yours was soap? Okay.
I didn't know they had chalk. I always thought it was soap because chalk is so brittle, right?
A piece of soap, and you had to measure and cut the dimensions out of it, like one piece. Yeah. No, there were some tricks to it, but yeah, I took that, the DAT, the dental aptitude test.
The DAT, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I took that one. Yeah.
Don't worry, awesome, Pat. Yeah. You're doing well for yourself, so.
Such a waste of time for me, yeah.
No regrets. You don't know until you try it, right?
I was talking to a friend of mine.
Yep.
And he said that his mom had a child tooth.
Yep.
Until she was 60, that never kind of came out.
Yep.
And it finally did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, like, the science behind that. You know, how can a child tooth stay for 60 years in someone's mouth and not come out versus others that, you can lose it at, 4 years old. Most people lose it at, whatever, young age. What determines that? Do you know?
You know what? Actually, that's a little bit genetics too.
Okay.
Sometimes permanent teeth are just not there. They just don't form. But it's not like numbers or anything. You might have like one, and you come across it here and there. It's not very common. But so what happens is the baby teeth are basically runways for the permanent teeth, if that makes sense. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So the permanent teeth use baby teeth to come into the mouth because they're right underneath them, right? Yeah, because so on the bottom, if you have a baby tooth, the permanent tooth is right underneath it, and it'll slowly start to erupt as the roots form. And the baby tooth, the body starts resorbing it, breaking it down till it basically falls off and the permanent tooth comes in. That's basically how it works, right? And sometimes the permanent tooth is missing. So if the permanent tooth is missing, the body has no reason to break down the baby tooth.
Ah, okay.
Right? So the baby tooth can stay, and I have a lot of patients who have similar situations, and I say, hey, leave the baby tooth in there as long as possible. It's a tooth. It's working. It's fine. The roots are fine. Just leave it in there. Don't do anything. Right? Like,
yeah.
Take it out. There's no need. There's absolutely no need. Yeah. So that doesn't happen.
Your smile might look a little weird, but that's okay.
Odd. So it depends which tooth it is. And me, of course, it's a curse. Like I'm a dentist. If I meet somebody new and they start smiling, I'm counting it. I'm like, that one's a little bit rotated. Oh, wait a minute.
You're like,
you can count everyone's teeth.
I do it all the time, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny because we were in dental school and we would go to a restaurant and, the waitress would come and I'd be hanging out, like if I'm hanging out with friends who are not in dental school, and we were just having dinner, right? And the waitress comes in and they're like, oh man, she's good looking, And I'd be like, yeah, I know, but her one apple's off. It's off. It's rotated, man. It's not cool. And they're like, come on. And then when she comes back, they all notice. They're like, dude, why'd you mention it?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like also now, like when you see someone smile, are you like, okay, that's a $10,000 job right there, that one's about $6,000 right there.
That one, he needs braces.
Yeah.
He needs braces. Yeah. If I was doing it, that's how much I'd be charging. Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's a curse.
Depending on which countries, I think cosmetics. I guess like not in the sense of cosmetic, but more like jewelry. Some people have put jewelry on their tooth, but not in North America, I find, right? But in other countries, that seems to be a little bit more in, right? A little bit more popular. I'm not talking about the grills, for rappers or anything.
No, yes.
But maybe just putting a little gem or something on one tooth.
Yes, that was big, probably in, I think it was 2004, 5.
So it was just a phase.
There was a big hype. Oh yeah. I would come across, patients would come in and they're like, I want this put on my tooth. And they put like that tiny little diamond right on their.
Really?
Yeah, like a tiny little diamond or a fake one.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to know, and you can put it right on your tooth. So when you smile, it literally.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. Oh man, that's hilarious.
So Pat,
that's easy, man.
You can stick it on with some filling, and off you go. It's simple.
Oh, I thought just that's like
you could give one to Pat and I. Can you do it?
Bring your bling, dude. Bring your bling. I'll put it for you. No problem.
Bro, can you write "not so serious science" here on one tooth? I thought that's like an easy fix. That's like a home remedy, man. Crazy glue. That's it. That's all you need, man.
Yeah. We just use dental glue and make it all fancy, but yeah, it can be done.
Interesting.
It has been done, obviously. It's been done quite a bit.
Interesting how there's phases of with that.
Yeah.
Is there anything right now? Like, is there a fad right now? Like, have you seen?
No, I haven't seen that since 2005. Honestly, I haven't come across that since 2005. I don't have any patients who have it. I think honestly what happened was some people got like actual diamonds and they put them on their, teeth, and then over time, I don't know if the glue wore out and it went missing.
They ate it,
swallowed it, and they were like, "Damn, I spent a lot of money on that, and now I'm not gonna go looking for it."
Pat and I, we're gonna start a new trend. All right, we gotta think of something.
It's dental tattoos, man. Dental tattoos.
Dental tattoos? There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dental. Yeah, we'll use the technology from Josh there the other day, and then
previous speaker. Yeah.
Previous
the
podcast.
One place, the one part of the body where if you get a tattoo, it will dissolve is in your mouth. I'm dead serious. If you if you get a tattoo on your cheek, on the inside of your cheek, it will dissolve. It'll go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't stay. It doesn't stay.
It's all the enzymes, right? We got there.
Sorry?
We got enzymes, right? Enzymes, the saliva, everything washes it out, right?
It's the only place in the body where it'll actually dissolve. And it's funny, speaking of tattoos, I had a patient once, I was in the practice, I forgot, I was in between patients, and then my assistant was like, hey, Saj, you want to see something? I'm like, sure. And it was a young patient who came up, and he's like, and my assistant was like, check this out. And he's all proud of this. And he pulls his lip down, and on the inside of his lip, he had a tattoo that he got redone regularly. And I can't imagine, oh my God, that's gotta hurt. Yeah. But it said, F-U-C-K-U.
So he's gonna walk around the streets.
I'm like, come on, man! I thought you liked me.
Instead of flipping the bird, he's just gonna pull
down. He goes like,
pull your lip down. I know. That's like, but he kept getting it redone. So I'm like, wow, you got to have a high pain threshold if you want to get that.
Definitely, it's got to kill. Unless you do local anesthesia with that big ass syringe.
Oh, and you know that's not happening because dentists are not doing it. Dentists are not doing that.
Replace a filling and get a free tattoo.
Dude, yeah. I'm sure the equipment is similar, man. It's just about replacing a line, man. You just unplug this and plug that way.
I might look into that. Just change the drill. Here we go.
Dental tattoos. There's an idea for you. At the peak of COVID, you had texted me a picture of you. Obviously, all the dentists, everything shut down. But then when things started opening up again, I think the dental office were one of the first practices to open up. And you had sent me this pic, and it looked like you were working at Chernobyl nuclear plant. You had this like full-on hazmat suit and freaking full-on with the visor, with the gas mask and everything.
And filter.
That was insane.
Face shield, head cover.
Yeah.
It's a lot better now, right? You don't need the full hazmat suit, do you?
It is a lot better, but we are still very strict.
For me as a patient, I'm also scared to go to the dentist right now, right? Because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, I'll wait off on my annual cleaning, right? Unless I have an emergency, then I'll go in. But if not, I'd rather just kind of, be safe, stay at home first. Because like you said, you're protected, but then I feel like I'm exposed, right? I got no face shield, no mask. I mean, you just never know, right?
Well, now the patients are required to wear masks as well. We provide them. If they don't have a mask, we provide them with a mask, and they have to put it on before they walk in. So you are protected.
But not during the procedures, though, right? Not during the
during
dental.
the procedure, we take it off. Yeah, during the procedure, they can take their mask. Obviously, they take the mask off, and we do the work, and they put the mask back on. But I mean, you know what? I always tell patients, like, a dental office right now is way safer than your grocery store.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for my annual cleaning for sure. So it's either delay my annual cleaning and risk the chance of getting that big needle, or try to get that cleaning in and reduce the chance of that needle.
Just make sure you brush twice a day and you floss. That's important. Flossing.
Yep, that's what I do. Brush twice.
Drilled into my head.
Floss at night. Floss at night, and then brush. And go to bed.
Hey, now that I'm working from home, I can brush my teeth 5 times a day if I need to.
Well, there you go. But flossing is the most important, though. If I had a choice between flossing and brushing, I'll go flossing.
Really?
Yes. 99% of the cavities that I fill every day are in between the teeth because the toothbrush never goes there.
I read that actually not flossing also affects the gut, and it could cause later on in life, like, cardiac issues.
Yes.
Have you read that before, or
There's more and more research coming out. Cardiologists were doing heart surgeries for the longest time, and they're cultivating, they're taking swabs and cultivating these bacteria, and they're going, what are these bacteria? I've never seen these before. And they're scratching their heads thinking, where are these coming from? Mm-hmm. Dentists have been working with those same bacteria, for eons. So basically, the study has shown now is that when somebody has severe, let's say, gum disease, the bacteria that are in, or the bacteria that cause that gum disease, over time, when the population gets big, let's say if you're not flossing, you're not taking care of your teeth, and we're talking like over years, months, depending on the patient.
Sure.
Again, susceptibility is different for everybody.
Right.
Those bacteria eventually will get pushed into the bloodstream. You have that cold pizza from the fridge and you got to bite down and chew on it a little bit hard and gets jammed into your gums and stuff. And the gums are already puffy from gum disease, causes a little bit of bleeding. Guess what? Next thing you know, the bacteria is going into your bloodstream. And these bacteria apparently go and they can actually affect the blood vessels. And that can lead to thinning of blood vessel walls, aneurysms, heart disease, you name it. And they can also affect clotting, or not clotting, but atherosclerosis, which is basically, fat deposits and everything, just make things worse. There are studies now which actually, there's correlation between gum disease, prolonged gum disease, and Alzheimer's, even like it's gone that far. There's evidence now where bacteria can cause cancer. Like bacteria from the mouth can cause cancer if you have poor oral health.
Wow.
Really crowded teeth. These are all new things that are coming up. This is all new research that's coming up. And yeah, it is true. Yeah.
So where do you see dentistry going in the next 5-10 years? Like what's the next thing that needs to be, improved on or, make things easier or where do you see it going?
You know what? I think in the next 5-10 years, we're still going to be working on just patient experience. It's all about customer service and patient experience. I mean, the materials we have now compared to even when I graduated, are like day and night. We have machines now that will actually make fillings. We have machines that will make crowns right there in front of you. And even that technology has gotten so much better compared to when I graduated. It was there when I graduated. It was tedious to use, but now they've made it so much easier with all the technology.
Do they actually scan your teeth now and then the computer can just? Yeah,
I do it in my office all day, every day. Like we make crowns, like I'll be like, we'll have your crown ready. The patient actually sees, they actually watch. It's like a 3D milling machine, 3D printer. So I work on a computer. I scan, I scan the bite, scan the prep, right? I prepare the tooth, I scan it, scan the opposing, the bite and everything. And the patient's watching. Once I'm done drilling and I scan it, I show the patient, it's like, look, that's you. There's the tooth. That's what we did. Now here we go. I design it, I press a button, and then the machine is actually making the crown on the tooth, and the patient is they're just fascinated. And I love this thing. This machine is fantastic.
Wow.
Multiple reasons. Number one, patients don't have to come back. Patients don't want to come back. I understand that. They don't want to come back and see me. Fine. So why don't I just do everything in one shot? And it's just convenient, and patients get a great kick out of it. So we design. Yeah. Once they see
same day.
Same within the hour and a half.
Very cool.
And then you press the button and the 3D printer starts to buzz, and then you have 2 diamond burrs that just start to cut. And cut it off a block of porcelain. You have a block of porcelain in the machine. It'll just, like a carver, it'll cut everything that it does not need, and the crown just falls down. You pick it up, polish it, try it on, cement it on, you're done.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's really neat. Yeah, it's the CEREC. It's the CAD-CAM technology. It's been around for a long time, and they've just made it so much better. Like
so it's just a matter of like pretty much getting it faster and just the technology is just going to make it faster and
it's all about convenience, of course. And I mean, we live in a world now where they want it and they want it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the world we live in.
You raised a really good point though. I think, still to this day, I mean, people are not super excited to go to the dentist,
Yes.
And so I'm not sure, no matter how much you improve the customer experience, at the end of the day, you have people shoving things in your mouth, so,
we're in your personal space.
Yeah. That's it. That's it too. Right.
Right. So what we're doing now is we're focusing on the kids. And that's why we have a lot of periodontists. That's why we have a lot of dental anesthesiologists, right? So if the kids have a great experience, because again, the 60-year-old who's talking about their experience when they were 5.
Yeah.
Guess what? The 5-year-olds are they're having a great experience. They don't have that dentist who was smoking a cigarette and sitting in a barn with the big glasses and blowing the smoke in their face and smacking them. None of that is happening anymore, right?
It's got Netflix now, right?
Pardon?
There's Netflix now in the dental office, you know? All the kids get to watch their favorite shows while they're in the
That's so true.
Get your show, get your cartoons, you get a nice little toothbrush, floss after your appointment, you get a sticker. They love it.
Yeah.
They love it.
That you know what? You're using that's like the McDonald's approach. You suck them in early with like the Happy Meals. You make it fun. You give them toys. You give them books.
Yep.
You suck them in early as a child, and then they just have good memories, right? So they just come back for more for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Gotta get that Big Mac, you know? First is the Happy Meal, next is the double cheeseburger, and the next thing you know, your Big Mac quarter pounder. So that's actually, it makes business sense for sure, you know?
Yeah.
Why is it that some dentists are just specialized in children versus others either don't want to do children or do children like from a certain age and up? Like what is there a difference between handling kids versus handling, you know, teenagers and adults? Or because you see a lot of these practices is just like pediatric dentistry and that's all they want to focus on.
You know what pediatric dentists do?
What?
They sedate the kids.
That's just true.
5-year-old patient is a sedated 5-year-old patient.
Yeah.
Because they don't move, they're sleeping. You do all your work, off you go.
Yeah, because when I was looking for a dentist for my kids, only pediatric dental centers had the sleeping gas, right? The nitrous.
Really?
Not a lot of the general dental offices have them, right? So, you know, for me as a parent, you know, I'm always like, oh, I hate to see my kids in pain, right? So I was looking, literally, I was looking, calling around, see who had the machines, and only the pediatric ones had it. So I sent them there, and you know what? That clinic that I go to, not only do they have the nitrous, but they have a play structure, a huge play structure inside. You know, at the end of their visit, they get a little coin to get a little vending machine. Like they basically knew every button to push, you know, for the kids, right? Yeah. So next time we have an appointment, the kids are like, can we go a little bit earlier so we can play the structure and all this stuff, right? Yeah. So it helps, right? Yeah. It definitely helps, right?
So it's not everyone's
cup
of tea, obviously. Like I cannot see myself just working on kids all day long.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get it. Yeah. Yes. I get that part. Gotcha.
I work on adults. I work on teenagers. I mean, you know, then again, I mean, I do procedures that a lot of dentists don't do. So, I mean, to each his own. To each his own. Yeah. The pediatric dentists or pedodontists are, they get a kick out of it. They do it and they do it well and great.
But you raised a good point because that's something that, you know, we didn't have when we were kids, that type of experience, you know, with the TV as the dentist is working on you, bubble gum stickers, cool toothbrush, Star Wars toothbrushes, none of that. We didn't have any of that, you know? Yeah. So that's interesting. You mentioned that they're working on the psychology of it, the emotional connection of it early on, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, I remember when I went to my final year in dental school, I went to Mexico with 3 of my classmates because we could do like an externship. So we went to the University of Mexico and we hung out with the dental students there. And it was neat because they have 2 big vans which have 2 chairs inside, 2 dental chairs.
Okay.
Equipment to do fillings. And they would go into like the rural areas, to the schools in rural areas. And I kid you not, the kids would line up outside the bus, outside the van, and each one would come in. They do a quick analysis and like, okay, this is what you need. And they would just do it right there and then with a freezing thing. But again, there is like, you know, if a kid was crying and everything, they'd be like, hey, you know, because the bottom line
suck it up.
You can afford the treatment if you really wanted to. You know, it's a poor neighborhood. They're like, get up and get this done. That's it. And they would do it. And the kid had to do it.
So the traveling dentist still exists right now. Not much different than before, right? The traveling dentist has wheels now. That's basically it, right?
There you go.
Yeah. It's no longer on a horse. It's on a It's in a van.
Yeah, it's on a big van. Right. Those kids that have teeth that are abscessed or big cavities that need to be, they're not going to be able to get to it otherwise. So You know, there's pros and cons again to everything.
Yeah.
But the traveling dentist still exists in some parts of the world. Yeah.
Do you have a website?
DunvilleSmiles.com and MonarchDentistry.com.
Saj, you're awesome, man. Thanks so much for doing this.
Likewise.
It really means a lot to us, so thank you.
Great hanging out, chatting with you guys. If anything.
Yeah, man. It's been fun.
Thank you so much. I
Same.
appreciate it.
All right.
Anytime. My pleasure.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Go Raptors.
Peace,
Here
buddy.
we go.
Yeah, go
Go
Raptors.
Raptors, go. All right. See you, man. Have a
Nice,
good one.
guys. Yeah, have a great weekend. We'll talk.
You got it. Take care.
Thanks so much for watching our Not So Serious Science channel. We really appreciate it. Click on a couple of these videos for more interviews where Emmanuel and I talk to scientists from the lab to the corporate world in a way that you really don't need a degree in science to get. All right, promise you, there are no science words more than 15 letters. I promise.